ladies and gentlemen, it's either one humanity or we shall continue to perish. There is something that becomes very clear when you step back far enough, like really step back. The kind of distance where borders don't exist anymore, where maps stop looking like divisions, and you know, and they start looking like one continuous space. And from that view, countries don't really exist the way we think they do. What exists uh, there is just people, one humanity. And that realization is uncomfortable because right now everything around us is structured the opposite way. We are taught separations. We have different nations, different systems, different thoughts, different interests. But the problem we face, they are not separated. We all face climate problems, poverty problems, inequality problems, access problems, survival problems. These things don't stop at borders, they move through humanity as a whole. So when the question becomes, can we actually solve global problems while thinking in fragments? Can we actually thrive while divided into systems that don't fully align with each other? And the more people think about it, the more it feels like we can't. Because what is happening right now is humanity is powerful but fragmented. Humanity is intelligent but uncoordinated. Humanity is capable but divided. And that division slows everything down. It creates inefficiency, it creates conflicts, and it creates limitations. So things that don't need to exist at scale, you know, you know, we don't need this division. So if that continues long enough, it doesn't just slow progress, it risks collapse, not in any immediate way, but gradually. So systems, if they continue to fail or to keep up, people are left behind. And even opportunities in a fragmented world becomes unevenly distributed. And over time, that creates instability. So yeah, the reality is simple. Even if it's hard to accept, humanity has only two directions. It's either we come together as one, it's either we co create as one, or we continue to operate slowly and inefficiently, or we continue to perish in inefficiency, in inequalities, and in misalignment. So it's either we come together as one or we continue to perish. So yeah, that is not yet. It's just the logic of life right now because systems are not aligned. You know, if and if they are not aligned, eventually they break under pressure. And right now the pressure is increasing. Technology is accelerating, populations are growing, expectations are rising, but coordination is not keeping up. So right now there are certain countries that are not even caring about AI, but they hold a mass of people, and these people are being left like mm, how many countries were left during other previous revolutions, from the Mesopotamian revolutions, industrial revolutions, going through. So we are seeing those kind of issues, and if we continue to live in a separate world, we are going to live in this kind of misalignments. So that is why unity is not just an idea, but a necessity, a requirement to humanity right now. So this is why we are calling for co-creatorship. It's not like force the sameness across every person. It's not like removing identity of where this person comes from, but aligning humanity at deeper level, aligning around shared survival, shared growth, shared thriving. Because at the end of the day, no one survives alone at this scale. No country solves everything alone. No system carries humanity forward alone. So this is where people become more important, you know and with chippies, this is where we are going, in this direction. So chippies, we aim it to be the direction of humanity, because we are trying to what we are trying to do with Chipies ecosystem is we are trying to create a structure where people across the world can co-create together without limitations of these borders and without being restricted by fragmented systems. So we are creating a place or an environment where ownership, participation, and value are not tied to where you are, or where you are from, or who you are, but to what are you looking forward to improve in humanity, and how do you wish humanity should live, you know, and that way be able to take ownership, to also to co-own together with others across the world. And I think basically that changes everything, because when people start seeing things or start developing themselves, when people start to work for themselves, so you know, they are no longer citizens of a particular country, but it's participants in humanity. So when we have one humanity, I do believe people will start thinking differently. People will start building differently. People will start solving problems at the right scale. And that is where hope comes in. Because despite everything, despite division, the systems, the structures, there is something very powerful in people: the ability to connect, the ability to collaborate, the ability to care beyond boundaries. And basically, that has not disappeared in humanity. It's just like we are just underused, because we see right now there are tourists, people who move from other countries to come and care for other countries that are in another country. There are other AIDS or NGO, you know, organizations that also donate to other countries. So humanity uh, he has always been having this feeling of we shall come together as one, but there is no appropriate way to doing this. And the way now is chip ecosystem through co-creatorship, we can actually be able to achieve this. So humanity has been underused, and if we can't activate that co-creatorship, if we can't uh, give it a structure, a direction, and the tools that it needs to achieve this at a scale, then humanity is not going to thrive. Humanity will just survive. So we need to be able to provide the structure. We shall give humanity the direction and the tools, then it thrives. That is why we are pushing so hard for unity in the Chipies ecosystem, not as a slogan, but as a principle, as a way of building, as a way of existing. Because when you really break it down, there is one part that scales with the future. It's not separation, it's not fragmentation, it's not isolated growth, but togetherness. So co-creatorship at global scale is equals to one humanity building, owning, thriving together. And yeah, it might sound idealistic but at first, but when you look at the alternative, it's actually the most practical way we can actually thrive humanity at scale. Thank you.